resources and manpower and things that sometimes the local authorities don't have. And so with their help and our assistance working with them together, you have their authority and some of their assistance, and working together with the manpower of the departments, because there's not a lot of marshals that are able to come and work these cases, but if you assist them with the local agencies along with their authority, then that's something that's extremely beneficial to making sure that these types of cases end quick.
Real quick, I don't know, you probably already answered this, but when he was he spotted driving? Is that what, was it a tip, or how did
I'm not going to get into that. I'll let the marshals decide if they want to talk about how he was lured from where he was at and how the chase began. So that's something that I'll let them answer.
Can you talk a little bit about the original warrant that was being served on Friday to him, and how you guys found him at the links in Bentonville?
No, we won't discuss those kind of practices on how we locate suspects. Obviously we don't want to give away the methods that we use to locate dangerous individuals that are armed and have made threats not just against law enforcement but to themselves. So that those are things that we usually don't talk about.
Can you talk about the charges that warranted the warrant?
No, I believe that's something that the prosecutor's office should handle, and I certainly don't want to step on any toes, and the prosecutor's office obviously will have a huge role and impact, and you've got multiple jurisdictions with multiple crimes and multiple felonies, and now you have a suspect that could possibly live, not live, or there are a lot of scenarios that could take place between now and the next few weeks, so we'll have to see how it plays out.
Can you give us a rough timeline of the events of today?
The information that you're getting is very fresh. I mean, it's within an hour of occurring. As far as the timeline of when he was spotted, when the pursuit began, how all that came about, again, I think that the Marshal Service is better suited to talk about that if they want. That might be information that they don't want disseminated, at least right now. But all that will come out in the wash at the trial if there is one.
I guess just real quick, talk about how it feels, after this search, this intensive search, and you never really wanted that this intense. Talk about how it feels to maybe have apprehended him, not keep the public safe, but maybe not the.
I will sleep good tonight for the first time in many nights, because every phone call that I have received over the last few days, I worry about it being a deputy or an officer or an innocent person being hurt, or even a suspect taking his own life. So this was definitely a case where it drug on, obviously longer than we would have liked for it to, but he was on the move constantly, so it was challenging to keep up with him, but they did a great job of doing so, and beyond that, I probably won't speak any further about that.
Anything else that we missed that you'd like to add?
No. I'll tell you this, though, that social media played a fantastic role in assisting and helping officers with any kind of tips, even if they're wrong. We encourage people to give us information, and especially the TV outlets, all three that are in the area, ABC, CBS, NBC, all three have done a fantastic job also of helping us get the information out to the public, which was vital and key into helping apprehend the suspect. So many times they can be seen as adversaries, but the media did a fantastic job of assisting law enforcement in making sure that we got someone that was dangerous apprehended.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.